Hi you guys. I was gonna give you an inside look at some Gyotaku art that I do. It's a ancient Japanese art where they print fish. Gyotaku actually means fish rubbing. So what you do is you use rice paper and soot ink, and you actually print the fish on rice paper. So I'm going to take you through it step by step, but what I want to do is show you some of the materials you're going to need, just a basic minimum materials that you're going to need. You're going to need a table, and excuse my garage, we are post-hurricane, post-barrel. Ripped both my garage doors out. Still haven't got them fixed yet, but we're post-barrel. Anyway, excuse the mess. So what you're going to need at a minimum is you're going to need a table to work on. Then you're going to need the actual ink. This ink I got online. I'm not endorsing any kind of brand, but it's just Sumi ink. You can S-U-M-I. You can get it on Amazon. Sumi ink, and it's just made out of soot. So it's not toxic. You can just wash the fish off and then clean it, knead it afterwards. You're going to need a little bowl to put the ink in. You're going to need a brush to brush the ink on. These are all some assorted pins I got at Hobby Lobby to pin the fins and all kinds of stuff like that. So I have the paper, the actual rice paper that's cut out already to size. You can get this rice paper online also. I got it all online. And then you're going to need a rag, old t-shirt, whatever's the softest material you can get to dab the ink off of the fish before you put the paper on, because and you'll see in a little bit when we go through it, if you put too much ink on the fish, and then it's going to saturate the paper and it's just going to be a big splotch. You want the least amount of ink as possible so it prints nice and clean, and you'll see that here shortly. So as you can see, I changed the towel because my wife said that was one of the good beach towels. So this is a towel that I used before. It's got ink stains in it and stuff or whatever, so we'll go with this. This is a big one my wife caught. Look, 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 look. It's a pretty big red. Check that out. See how slimy it is? See all the slime coming off it? We have to wash all that off, so we're gonna just wash them off real quick. 27-inch redfish. You gotta be careful with it too. You don't want to yank any of the scales out or anything. You just want to get the slime off of it. I'm not sure which side we're gonna print yet. But you want to get all of the slime off. He's real stiff. He's been sitting in the cooler all night. Okay, so we just want to dry him off. You can use the same rags over and over. If you start doing this as a hobby or whatever, you can just use the same rags over and over. Just put them in the washing machine and wash them. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. Okay, so we got the fish washed off pretty good. We're just drying it off. Just, you want to be really careful, like I said, not to damage the fish or yank out any scales. So just a little bit of history. I'm drying off all the scales. I'm just being really careful because the fins are the most delicate part. Gyotaku is Japanese, and like I said, it's gyo is fish and taku is rubbing. It's hundreds of years ago, the Japanese, they didn't have technology back then like cameras and all that. So what they did was they mixed charcoal and water, and they painted the fish with it, and then they took rice paper and laid it over it, and that was a photograph of their fish. That was the record of their fish they caught, right? And it's a pretty popular art in Hawaii. There's a lot of Japanese people in Hawaii, so I'm still drying all the fins off. So a couple of things you need to know about drying the fish off. There's a few spots that really water accumulates. So like right here along this fin line right here, there's a pocket in there, and it holds water. Here too, right here, it holds water in there, around the gills, around the eye, in the mouth, and around the lips, and underneath the fins, like right here. You can see it. You can tell when you're doing it, when it starts getting shiny, it's wet. Another thing is when you take the fish out of the cooler, and if the air temperature is warmer, which is probably going to be warmer, you're going to get condensation, and the fish is going to bleed water just from condensation. So one of the biggest places a lot of water comes out is underneath the gills. So you want to grab hold of the gill, stick this paper towel down in there, and it'll soak up a lot of the water. And then right around here where the lips are, there's pockets in here. See, like right there, that holds water right there. All right, so you want to make sure you dry it really good. The nostrils, these lines in the gill plate right here, that holds a lot of water right in here. This line right here, that holds a lot of water, and this one too, right here, this one. So you got to get all those really dry, and I'll show you after we do the very first print. You're gonna have to go through maybe 2 or 3 prints. The first one's usually the rough draft. Anywhere there's a recess or a pocket, that's where the water's going to be. And another one's right here, like right here, right there, right here. A lot of water. Down in this pocket right in here, there's a lot of water. Like I told you, around the lips. You got to dry it out really good, and especially in the gill plates. Those are the biggest spots where it holds the most water. Okay, we're almost done drying it. Make sure you have a whole roll of paper towels, because you're going to go through a lot of paper towels drying it. I'm still getting a lot of moisture out of some of the pockets, but we got them pretty dry now. It's looking pretty good. So the next step I'm going to show you is carding the fins to have the fins stand out all the way and pinning them. So we're going to do that next. Okay, so as you can see right here, I've got a whole bunch of short pins. Short brad nails for pinning the fins. That way when you do use the rice paper and put it on it, you don't see them. Like these are really long. These are really long. I won't use these for much. It's probably going to be the other ones, unless it's just the fish is so big that I need a long pin. And then I have all of this pre-cut styrofoam, different sizes and shapes and thicknesses, and you're going to see what we need them for here. So you can see how big the tail is. You want the tail to be fanned out. This is a big fish, you know? That's pretty good right there, huh? Like that? Mm-hmm. So we'll use the short pins, and we'll pin the tail. You want to just catch it right on the end, and probably down in an indentation where the nail hits, the pin head's not going to show. All right. They go in pretty easy. See how it sits down there pretty flush. You can't hardly even see it actually. So, and it's just as needed. I mean, I can't tell you exactly where to place them. It depends on the shape of the fish and the fin. You're just gonna have to try it. It's a trial and error thing. That's how I started doing it. Trial and error. All right. So see how the tail's nice and fanned out now. Okay. Try not to be in a hurry when you do it. There's no rush. When you start rushing, that's when you start messing things up. Okay, that looks pretty good. See how the tail's fanned out? It looks really good. So now we're gonna do anal fin, the back fins, and this one you just have to freehand. You can't pin it because it's so high. You'll see how we do it. This one's the same way. It's going to pretty much just lay flat. We'll try to spread it out so it looks nice, kind of like that right there. So let's work on these other fins. Here's the anal fin. See those little brad nails? You can't hardly see them. Looks good. That looks good. There's no technical way to describe this. It's just like get it in there as best you can without tearing the fin or anything like that. You don't have to pin the back end because it folds down. You need to pin down the leading edge to hold the fin open. So that looks really good right there. That looks really good. See how it's nice and open? If you want it to look more natural and have the fins closed like he's swimming, you can position the fish however you want. It doesn't even matter. It's your personal preference, right? But I like them open. It looks more realistic and dramatic. Okay. So after you print and you see some mistakes, that's okay too, because you can go back with a fine, brush and fix it. Okay. So that looks pretty good right there. Yeah, so you can see how all the fins are pretty much spread out. Right? The tail, the anal fin, the back fins. Okay, I'm gonna dry it off just a little bit more. I'm gonna dry it off just a little bit more, and then we're gonna be ready for the first print. Okay, so we got the Sumi ink. It's just Sumi ink black. You can get any brand. It doesn't matter. You can even, they actually sell it in some of the craft shops. So make sure you shake the bottle up really good, because all of that charcoal soot stuff is gonna be stuck on the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna just put some of this ink in the bowl, small bowl. Make sure you put too much, because if you run out in the middle of printing the fish, the ink dries pretty quick. Okay, it dries pretty quick, so you want to have enough there ready to go. Okay, so have you a medium-sized brush, maybe 1-inch brush. It's up to you. You can do trial and error. I put more paper towels on there to lay on it just to keep soaking up moisture. Okay, so here we go. This is the part that makes me nervous, because this is the part where you can mess it up. You don't want to put any ink on his eyes, okay? You don't want to put any ink on his eyes. You can go in and paint the eyes later. I never paint inside of that crack right there. Right here, this crack along the top fin, that pocket, because the fish is he's round, right? He's round, and the ink's gonna run down. Okay, the ink's gonna run down. And I want to make sure I get it and pat it down good. You can also stick a piece of paper towel in his butt, because moisture comes out of there also. I stuck a piece of paper towel in his butt. Another thing is you don't want to, when we start pushing the paper on him, you don't want to go down too far with the paper, or it's going to distort the shape of the fish. If you go down too far with the paper and you lift it up, then the fish's head's going to look really big. So it's better to not go down not far enough, because you can fix it with the artist brush, right? You can always fix it with an artist brush. But once the paint's on the paper, you can't take it away. So like I said, this one we're gonna have to just freehand. Right. I try not to get any ink inside of that slot right there, because it's just gonna pull in all this ink over here. See how it's getting thin here now? It's running down and it's going into that slot. You can pull some of it back up so it doesn't run into that slot. You try not to be in a hurry, but for that reason right there, you have to hurry a little bit, okay? And like I said, if you don't get all of the spots, you don't have to worry about it, because you got to be careful you don't get any on the foam either, because when you're pressing on the paper, it can get on the foam. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there. Looks like a good first coat. Okay, we're gonna move this out of the way so it doesn't spill all over our project. So I got my dabber right here. It's an old soft rag. I'm gonna start dabbing because you don't want too much ink, right? So where you got too much ink, it blots up. Sometimes it might look like you're taking too much ink off, but you're not, okay? And where you can see it pooling up, where you can see dark spots, real dark spots, there's too much ink there. You want it to almost look like there's not enough ink. That's what you want it to look like there's not enough ink on there. Okay, we're getting ready to do the first print. We got a pesky fly flying around. So I got the paper pre-cut, this rice paper. Right, you want to do the shiny side up. That's the shiny side. That's the rough side. Okay. The shiny side up, the matte side down. So here, go, come down and I'll measure it about in the middle, right about there. Okay, pick it up, come up, pull it tight. Okay, move over. Okay, set it down. Okay, just hold it right there now. You want to start at the head first. Alright. You want to start at the head. You don't want to rub real hard. I know it's fish rubbing, but you don't want to push real hard. Okay, so now I got to get this one fin. I got to open the fin. I got to push down. That looks pretty good. Okay, you ready? There you go. So that looks pretty good. We got some spots that weren't wet enough. We didn't go too wide or anything. That one looks pretty good, so we're gonna do a second one. You've seen the first one, it came out pretty good. So you can see like there was a little bit too much ink here, not enough ink here, not enough ink here on the tail, which is fixable with the brush. The rest of it looks pretty good, you know, a little bit, some of it's missing there, but it's never gonna be perfect. And every print that you do, it's always gonna be different. Even with the same fish, it's going to be different, okay? Here we go. Ooh, much better. Much better. Nice. So you can see we got all the scales, a couple of wrinkles in there, but you can work that out with the artist brush, okay? You ready? Did I get that one? I did, right? Okay. That one's probably the best one. Okay, I broke a sweat. It's kind of hot in here. We've got a lot of breeze, but you don't want the wind blowing because it's going to blow the paper around, right? So here, take a look at these. This is the first draft. That was the first draft, okay? That was the second draft. And then this was the last one. I think this one came out the best because we got all the scales. Looks kind of prehistoric, doesn't it? Looks like a fossil printing. Okay, so the more of them you do, the better you get at it. Here's the fish. We're gonna just hose it off with the hose, wash all that charcoal ink off of it, and then just go ahead and clean it. Actually, it's still cold. I'm gonna have to do another video on the actual touch-up of it. if you really into Gyotaku. It's my hobby. I like doing it just like fishing. So thanks for watching me do it, and I hope you learned something from it. And the next video I'll show you how to touch it up. Okay, all right, thanks, bye.